Now, Donna Jones, she is now the chair of the Police and Crime Commissioners Association, and she said after what happened in Oxford Street last week and fears of that sort of mob rampage spreading elsewhere, she said that parents need to get a grip on TikTok yobs. Well, families do have a responsibility. That's the point Donna Jones was making. But really, what can we actually do? It's a tricky one. It's a new one. It's fueled by social media. We've seen it in America. We're now beginning to see it here. I'm joined down the line by former Met Police Detective Peter Bleksley. Peter, it's always a funny one, this, isn't it? When you get young offenders, there's always the cry goes up, where are the parents in all of this? But isn't the truth of it that in our fractured society, and particularly in our inner cities, in many cases, the father is absent, the mother's probably at full-time work. It's not just that easy to say the parents must sort this, is it?
No, and it would probably be more appropriate for people to say in a kind of modern way, where are the parents, carers, guardians and the like? That still is relevant. I think parenting, whether it be single parenting or with a traditional couple, does take a large amount of responsibility for churning out people who are decent human beings. That's the whole point of parenting, as far as I'm concerned. And clearly, some of these youths that we saw in this outbreak of lawlessness in Oxford Street and around that area last week have clearly not been raised in the manner that my wife and I have raised our three kids. There are a number of facets to this. Of course, social media playing a very unwelcome part in mobilising these youths, but fair play to the Met Police. They were across that traffic on social media platforms, so they mobilised sufficient officers, horses, dogs and the like, and it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
No, that's absolutely true. The police were on top of this, but we're just trying to deal not with the symptom here, but with the actual cause. It seems to me, Peter, the problem is this. I've been showing videos of TikTok for the last 18 months on this show, where they advertise, cross-channel, summer sail, you can cross the channel on our boat for $3,000 or $3,500 or whatever it is. And TikTok insist that when they're notified about these particular videos, they take them down, but new ones just spring up. Don't we have the same problem with this encouraging of lawlessness?
Yeah, I think the social media platforms should have algorithms that are actively searching constantly, 24 hours a day, for trigger words, trigger expressions.
Yeah.
And they've got that technology. If they claim they haven't, then I just think they won't be being truthful. They should have those algorithms as a very sophisticated layer of security, because it should not be used as a platform for criminality, like the dark web is for so much criminality.
Yeah.
But the shop that they were going to target in Oxford Street, JD or JD Sports as it's sometimes called, I was talking to a young man yesterday who does a lot of work, charitable work, in trying to dissuade young people from joining criminal gangs. He does brilliant work. He's been given an OBE for his efforts. His name's Chris Preddy. And he said to me, Peter, he said, if you walk in to JD Sports, when you look at the mannequins as you walk through the door, they are dressed in what he describes as a roadman starter kit. In other words, the kind of clothing, the style, the bag that street robbers, thieves, drug dealers would wear. So if that's the clothing they're pushing, that's the brand they're promoting, is it any wonder that the lawless youth will go and try and steal
Well, I think that's
clothing?
a bit harsh on JD Sports, to be honest, Peter. I mean, I could look at a jeweller's window, couldn't I, and see something desirable and think, well, I want to go and have that. I don't think we can blame them. Final thought on this. Punishment fitting the crime and all of that, and whether punishments would be a deterrent for these people. I mean, what would happen to a youth that was part of a mob that shoplifted? What sort of sentence would they get?
Well, that would depend largely on their criminal history. But whilst I praised the police earlier, they are to a certain extent to blame for where we've got, because the police have turned their back on so much criminality that affects the moderate mainstay of the nation day in, day out. Theft of phones, theft of bicycles, shoplifting, domestic burglary, theft of cars. All you've had for years is a crime reference number from the police and no investigation. When you kind of permit this criminality and you don't act quickly and swiftly, and there are not deterrents, it is, in my view, no surprise that the criminality grows, they become emboldened, and things, quite frankly, get worse. We need positive action, positive deterrence. Let's deter people away from crime and not encourage them to commit it.
Peter, depressing words, but I agree with you 100%. We've allowed crime to escalate without enough punishment. Thank you.